300 at the orchard? Thank you. There's 300 at the orchard.
Oh, let's go.
Take the dirt road towards the river. When it tees off, take a right, and you'll go towards the corner of a tree fence. There we go.
Look you go. Wow!
There's a chain link fence, not necessarily a border wall, but it's just a, chain link fence. But they cross a little upriver up here. They walk down this trail, come in and turn themselves in to the agents here. That's that truck that they loaded them all in.
Yeah, here's what I learned. They're all from Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
Right along the fence, they came in from Nicaragua, made their way up. And I said, where'd you cross? They go, there. I go, who led you? Nobody.
Yep. Look, remember I said when you get over here, you'd find the spot?
Yeah.
You see it? You see that little opening in the brush on the Mexican side?
Yeah.
That's the crossing spot.
In the last 2 years, how many people have made their way into the United States?
I think last year was over 2 million. And the year before that, I think just under 2 million. And then you have the unknown number of people that are gotaways that we have no idea that got away. And then you look at the people that are overstaying visas. I mean, that 11 million number of illegals in the United States is just a fantasy.
And how did they come?
They just swim across, or in some places walk across.
And they're from Cuba?
Cuba, Venezuela, Poland, Nicaragua, you name it. It's not just Central and South America. I mean, there's guys from Romania. There's guys from some of the Arab countries. You name it, we see it.
Nicaragua, Guatemala,
No, Cuba, Nicaragua, Honduras. Guatemala.
para autobús, todo, tractor.
Your feet? Good luck, brother.
And why do they choose this sector?
It's not as violent on the Mexican side. It's not as dangerous. They don't have the cartel problem like they have in the area directly south from us. There's a big problem. Laredo, same way, big problem. Here, it's the cartels are somewhat under control on the Mexican side, so it's safer for them to cross.
So you have a gang war in your sector.
Yes.
And what are the cartels?
The Gulf Cartel and the Zetas.
And they've figured out that this is worth more than drugs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is worth way more than drugs. I mean, you look at the average person pays $7,000 to $10,000 across, and that's just from the Central American countries. And you look at South Americans pay 10 to 15, and then anywhere off the continent, 20 to 25,000 a head.
And when they come here, you don't have to pay that last bit, which is you bring yourself over,
Yeah.
over where you're at.
Yeah, where we're at, everybody that crosses pays an extra tax to the cartels.
Because that state, Coahuila,
Yeah, Coahuila.
is doing a good job fighting the cartel. The southern states aren't helping, and the federal government, like ours, is ineffective.
Yeah.
And on this side, they do a good job. They keep the violence down. It's a small town, and yet they get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
New York complains about 1,000 a month, and we have 1,000 a day,
Yeah.
2,000 a day.
Yeah, this right here is probably 350, right here.
And this sector is 50 miles long?
Yeah. Before, when you had President Obama, it was somewhat high. When President Trump took over, it was about the same numbers. It did remain in Mexico, where they would have to go back to Mexico and wait for their asylum claim to be heard.
That means people other than Mexicans.
Yes.
Mexicans go
Well,
back.
even Mexicans, if they were claiming asylum, would have to go back to Mexico and wait for
That
it.
was new.
Yes. And then when they did away with that and they put it back in place, it didn't all come back in place, only partially came back in place. And then you have countries that have protective status that can't go back because of whatever reason. And this is the result.
Las derechas, hacia atrás, y ya cuando llega otra, a tu otra fila, y luego a tu otra fila.
And in the meantime, probably a mile downstream, they're probably running a bunch of dope because all our people are tied up over here with this shit. That's why they send them in big groups. And if we ever got back to enforcing, I mean, you look at the stats, you compare the stats from 2 years ago, 10 years ago of drug loads to now, almost nothing. And it's not that they stopped moving dope, they just stopped getting caught. To me, the hardest part is seeing stuff like this, the little kids' shoes, because you know that they brought little kids on this trip. And anything could happen to these kids. If you know, they slip out of their mom's arms, they're done. You know, they're not going to be able to swim across. And you see nothing but tiny little shoes and bottles and kids' toys, and to me that's the kicker right there. I think that's what gets most agents, is seeing that stuff. It's frustrating. We shouldn't be having to deal with this. I mean, we have laws in place that nobody follows, and everybody knows they're not going to get enforced, and this is the result. And unfortunately, you have a lot of people that don't make the journey to completion. Either they fall somewhere along the ways on the Mexican side, or they don't make it on the U.S. side. If they're trying to get away, they end up dead in a ranch somewhere from dehydration or a snake bite. And it happens way too many times than it needs to, and a lot of times it's children. Somebody's immigration documents.
What the fuck?
Their little pass to get through Mexico. Yeah, remember I was telling you could learn a lot of coming through here, and the shit you learn, like where they're coming from and who they are, and that's not even going through the pockets.
This person here is from Venezuela, and this one is
Venezuela as well.
And so what they do is they come over to Nicaragua, they cross into Mexico, and the Mexican government gives them a 30-day travel document here in Chiapas, southern part of the country.
Yep.
And then they make their way up here. You got 30 days.
Yeah,
so
to get through.
They know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere in here's a solution. You don't think we could get the Mexican government, like the state government officials in Mexico want, at least the border states, get it together, come up with some kind of solution of a bum rush on the southern border of Mexico, where people are taking kickbacks and issuing these. You got 30 days to cross this river. There's an easy solution. And if we want people in, we can simply send them documents where instead of flying to Nicaragua, you can fly to Dallas. If you wanted to do it. This is not necessary.
Hey, get back!
You know what I hear a lot? Charlie LeDuff newsman, I thought you were dead. I'm not dead. I'm doing the news. The real news. Right here. The No BS News Hour. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, Odyssey, or download it wherever you get your podcasts. Power the people.